Hi, Josh.
Hi, Danny.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the Actors Making It podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
How is it over there? You're in LA, right?
I'm in LA, yes.
Very good. You're coming into your summer. Although, does it ever really not be summery in LA?
It's coming into the cold part of winter. I think the end of winter is the colder part. So
Right.
usually get a little more rain and stuff. But this winter has been pretty sunny all around. It's just pretty cold at night, extremes. It's like 25 during the day Celsius, and it's
Okay.
about 10 at night, probably.
Sounds like the perfect temperature as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's a sunny day. I used to live in Manchester, and that would be like the height of summer.
Oh yeah, well I grew up in Hawaii, so it's like it's
Yeah,
like that.
I was just reading your your bio on IMDb that you were born under the moon in Nepal and grew up in Hawaii. It made me smile.
Yeah, it's fun, It's come from that sort of a beginning. It's sort of shaped me, I think. Like my brother was born in the Netherlands, and I don't know. They were just traveling hippies. My
Yeah,
that was the life back then. My
yeah,
father was
nice.
a doctor traveling around, and my mom was
Oh, okay.
missionary. So that's how they got
Um,
out there.
my mum was just a weird gypsy woman that, well,
Yeah,
she's not actually technically a gypsy. She just liked to move around a lot. So
yeah.
I moved. She just worked in bars. She didn't work. She wasn't a doctor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's noble too, though.
Well, look, it put food on the table, and we saw a lot of different places throughout Queensland and Australia, so
Yes.
it was fine. Alrighty, so acting, hey, and making it in LA. Has acting? As I said, I was just been kind of perusing through your IMDb again and familiarizing myself. It looks like you've been in the game for what, coming up to 20 years.
Um. Yeah. It's been that long, huh? 2022. I'm looking at the calendar. It's 2012 was 2018 was when I moved out to LA. So
Okay,
I would say less than 20 years because that was kind of for me, it was more of the serious point
okay,
taking it to that level of commitment to be here, to meet casting and try to develop relationships because that's what it is. It's all about the relationships you develop.
it really is.
Being in the films, meeting the right people, and being kind of isolated out in Hawaii. I was a big fish in a small pond, so I
Okay,
was able to get all these little co-star auditions, sort of thing. But they'd bring the guest stars in. They'd bring the bigger guys in. All the
yeah,
like you can do stand-in work there, and you can be the background where you see every single person again and again. And I made
hmm,
some money doing that out there with like Hawaii Five O, whatever Lost was before that, and but when I came to LA, I think I stepped my game up a bit more, and then I just kind of got addicted to the journey, I guess.
yeah, sure.
Um, some success
So,
in that as well.
okay, you kind of said a couple of things in there that I want to touch on. Obviously, the fact that you're moving to LA is when you feel you started to take it seriously. Now, that was 2018, is like, what, 4 years ago?
2008,
Uh, oh, 2008, sorry.
yeah.
I thought you
So
said
like
2018. Okay,
14.
gotcha. Okay, so you've been in LA a while. What did you? I find it really curious. So a lot of people are quite I don't know if ashamed is the right word, but afraid to say they're an actor until they reach a certain point in their career that makes them feel like they can justify saying that. Um, and what do you think was that point for you? Because if you were doing a bunch of stuff in Hawaii for a number of years, but then came to LA, what was it that made you feel that, okay, I can call myself an actor now, and this is how long I've been acting for?
That's a good question. Um, well, for me, as soon as I made the switch, because I went to film school um,
Okay.
previously, and I'd acted in some things that the director's like, "Oh, you're perfect for this. I like your hair." Blah, blah. Like I'd done some stuff, but I wouldn't have called myself an actor until, and then I went, okay, so the story, to make a long story longer, when I went back to Hawaii, I got into production. I was a PA and I did some commercials, some MTV, like production assistant, like production coordination. I was kind of on the scene there. But I saw the background actors. I'm like, these guys are kind of having more fun than me. so
Okay.
so I went on that side a little bit. I dabbled and I was like, I've acted before, and I saw the leads on the set, and I'm like, that's just me being me, and they're getting paid millions and they get all this fame and fortune, and I'm the one making this all happen as a PA. You're the one running around. And so that got me thinking a little bit more. And I feel like when I was smaller, when I was braver, how when we're younger, we're just brave, bravado and stuff. When I had that, when I was like, I don't know, teenager or earlier, I was the one that wanted to be in front of the camera. So I kind of analyzed that to like, well, I'll start somewhere. So I started doing the background work, and I started taking acting classes, and I started realizing that it's a lot more to it than just being present in front of the camera. That's just the start of it. And then there's all the other things that go with it. So for me, it wasn't like an exact moment, but I feel like when I decided to get on the other side of the camera, when I started to do the background work, and when I started to take the acting classes, that's when I could call myself an actor, because that's what I was going for.
Yeah, sure. What I guess you've just started to touch on it, but what got you into the game in the first place? What was the attraction of becoming an actor?
For me, just being present, taking advantage of that moment. I got into surfing when I was pretty young too, so that's another thing. I'm sure all the Aussies surf too, so there's something about being with the ocean, and forces you to the present. Anything athletic for me. I'm an athletic guy. I mean, I played soccer and surfing and stuff. So anything that brings me out of my head and just, like gets me, and so that you're forced to do that or you fail.
Right.
So I think I kind of looked at it in an athletic sense as well. And then also, all the fame and fortune that goes along with it wasn't bad, to try to take that onto. But then you kind of realize that that's like a 1% that has that. So
yeah.
Got to keep going.
Well, that's a good segue then into my favorite question, which is, when you first started out, what was your idea of making it? So you went into it with this goal or what was your goal when you came into acting? When you reached this point, you've made it.
That's a good question. I almost think that I want to answer just, self-acceptance sort of thing. But I feel like the real measure of that success is other people, like throwing money at you. And that's,
sure,
throwing the accolades at you, throwing like the Oscars at you. And so a part of me, of course I want that. Of course I feel like I deserve that. I've worked for that. But there's also like there's something a little deeper for me, as in, I'm in front of people. When, for example, this film right on my shoulder, The Lost Treasure, you can't see it, but you can see that I'm pointing at a poster.
I can see it.
Where I'm the lead treasure hunter, and we shot it all in Hawaii, and my wife wrote it and directed it, and we got distribution, and it's like on Amazon, and you can watch it. And so I go to Amazon, I click, I see that big poster of me, and then our publicity company, they hooked us up with a KITV4 interview, which is the ABC affiliate in Hawaii. Big, like I'm on the news doing this same thing with my wife. Like, here we have the lead actor and the director from The Lost Treasure, filmed entirely on Oahu. So, when you say, oh, where do you think you've made it? like for me, that was making it. That was like, wow, I'm on the news. I used to watch when I was a little boy. It's
Yeah.
super exciting, like to be able to play. And I was just like so heartbeat in the moment. Um, and and that's and now that's come and gone. And so there's going to be another like just making it moment.
Yeah, sure. So do you think your idea or your perception of what making it is changes over the years and how the further you progress?
Definitely. I definitely would say it evolves and it changes to where we go, because I'm at a level on the tier where I'm not as advanced as I want to be, but I'm at a different advancement tier than I was, or that other people are, that maybe they're trying to attain to be. Uh,
Sure.
so I guess, wow, to get philosophical again, it's like accepting where you're at, and accepting that is the making it, and then never stop being determined and going for my goal. With that being said, as well.
Yeah. I think that's really, I guess it's a really common position or mental headspace to find ourselves in, of not accepting where we are in the acting journey, because, like everything in life, it takes a while to work through the stages and get to a certain level to move up. There are the lucky few that get discovered and make something of themselves immediately and find fame and fortune, but it's so rare. You have to kind of find that acceptance within yourself that you are where you are, and as long as you keep pushing, you'll kind of get you'll get to where you want to get. But we are impatient people.
Yeah, by nature, the acting business, it's hurry up and wait when you're on
Yeah,
set. Like,
definitely.
okay, you get your lines down, make sure that, and that was it's fun. It's fun to be there. It's a lot of work, but it's it's hurry up and wait, because everyone's waiting on something.
For sure. So talking about where you are in the level of your career at the moment, are you at that point now where your only source of income is from acting, or do you have other jobs and income as well?
Yeah, not quite. One of my other jobs is surf instructing. So there's a bunch of tourists that come out, and that keeps me grounded, so to speak, going to the ocean and being able to do that. Freelance doing that, like different companies. I don't have my own company. That would be a lot of work if I tried to do that. But that's something that pays the bills a bit. Let's see, the unemployment thing comes in handy sometimes.
Yep.
A great many times. There's no shame in that.
No, definitely not. I think the reason I ask that question is because I like to paint a picture of what the reality of being an actor is, or trying to make it in whatever way making it means to people.
I'll make it whatever you can.
Because it's not as easy as going, okay, I'm going to quit my career and I'm going to be an actor, and then all of a sudden you can pay all your bills and live the life of luxury that you've been accustomed to. It's just not the reality of the industry, unfortunately. I'm going to make an assumption that in the US it's similar to here in Australia, that when you're starting out, or even after 2 decades of work, I would imagine you're still doing free acting gigs to get credits and to keep working.
Yeah. There's a point though where you have to say, well, is this going to progress my career anymore? Because
yes,
you have a certain level. Like for me, I have a great show reel. I have something that showcases, so I don't need things to add to that. But it's also a good exercise. That being said, and if the payment is networking with people that you'd like to meet, then that helps. So it's a kind of a catch-22, like everything.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're, I think this is a really interesting topic actually, because so many of us do work for free. how would you evaluate an opportunity that isn't going to pay you financially to decide whether or not it's something that will or will not advance your career, and if it's something that you want to work on?
Well, first and foremost would be the material, because for me, brand is really important. So what does it showcase about me that I would like to, um, or challenge me as well? I mean, if it's in my wheelhouse, sure, that's one thing. But if it's something that I don't know, it's like, hey, play a villain this time. Something that's a little different, like not my typecast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that, so as an actor, something that would challenge me, or something that would be right on brand, like funny comedy, like something I could work on my timing with, and then if I respect the production and the production value of it, of course,
Mm-hmm.
the direction, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. I mean, I personally have reached a point where I don't really put myself forward to work on student films anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't see, while they were great to cut my teeth on, they're not. I kind of look at it the same way of this isn't going to advance my career. So it's a good little evaluation to do, I think. And you don't always get footage or a credit or anything for it, but
Right.
apart from the promise of exposure, which
Yeah.
never comes. You've spoken a bit there about branding. Talk to me about typecasting and branding and how you find that for you and working within the realms of that.
Well, I think it's very important, as an actor, to know where your niche is, because the opportunities are endless, the dreams are endless. I know, I literally and figuratively, we dream so much, so we can see ourselves one way, but we are only one thing. We're only in one essence.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to be in tune with what you are and what you want to market, because I think marketing is a huge word that's so important, that I'm learning more of. I mean, I'm not the expert on it all, because it's business side of acting, and I feel like it's almost more. I mean, I don't want to be like shutting anyone down here, but I feel like it's almost more important than taking acting classes, because you need to be able
Right.
to have that presence out there, that especially casting and producers and directors want to see, because that's what's going to get you on set, and that's what's going to get money in your pocket, and that's what's going to get you seen by more people. So it's just about being
Mm-hmm.
seen, because there's hundreds of thousands of us, but we need to make our own mark in the market.
Yeah, sure. So what's your kind of strategy at the moment as far as marketing yourself is concerned and getting yourself out there?
Just finding the emails directly, the casting, and
Okay.
pitching myself.
All right.
I'm at a point where be bold and see what happens.
Yeah,
It
sure.
doesn't work all the time. I have a I mix. Some of them open the email, some of them don't. But at least I'm putting myself. I almost look at it as like I'm auditioning, because the
Okay.
auditions aren't coming, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
make the auditions happen.
And do you have an agent as well that's
Huh?
doing that, or okay, cool. And how does your agent feel about you contacting casting directors directly yourself?
She thinks it's great. I mean,
Okay, cool.
she she's kind of doing the same as well. She's happy about the hunger, but as long sometimes I've had one casting director kind of backlash, like, well, you should talk to your agent, and you know I get it, I
Mm-hmm.
get that, but that's my MO. There's no rules in this business. There's no
No.
ethicality. So you start talking to me about, like, oh, is this unethical? What are you talking about? I mean, this is, anyway. I'm not going to get into it, but you can do what you want to do.
I love the cultural differences between Americans and Australians are so vast when it comes to putting yourself out there. I think in Australia we have a mentality of, I don't want to piss somebody off, or I don't want to upset somebody, or I don't want to feel like I'm making someone feel uncomfortable, or that I'm disturbing them. Versus the American culture of like, well, I've got to fucking promote myself because nobody else is going to do it, so I'm going to get out there and I'm going to get myself out there. And I love that. I would love like for everybody to feel a lot more confident in doing that, because I mean, ultimately, if you think about agents, they get paid what, 10% of what you make. So you should be doing 90% of the work.
90% of the work. We just said it right at the same time. And and there's a point. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to realize that, but once I realized it, I just the fire comes up and you start doing that. And I think maybe the Australians and maybe the English as well. It comes from like a British sensibility of like, oh no, we need to be polite and stuff like that. But then the Americans have come from the cowboys, and we're going across, and it's just a thought.
Yeah, sure. So circling back to branding and typecasting, how did you come to the point of knowing what your type is? Did you decide it for yourself, or did you assess what you were being brought in for auditions for to understand what your type was?
Well, the roles that I played and the auditions that I've been brought in for, so it's a lot of like self-analysis and digging on that end. But also, I've taken some branding workshops and business side of things, and asking people how they view me, and a lot of it depends on what you're wearing, how your hair is, but these are kind of external things, and you want to take what rings, what they do the most of, what comes the most, like from these people. So it takes some time, but I guess it just takes some time, like anything, and you get there, and it works out usually.
Do you think over the course of your career, your type has changed? I mean, I'm going to make an assumption, not about you, but as people age, then type might change slightly, age-related. But do you feel that your type has changed over the course of your career?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like I have different roles. Like now it's the dad, the fun dad, definitely like Nickelodeon, or like it could be the fun dad, or and I just thought of this, the other side of things, the fun dad, or the satirical, like, badass biker or something like that, the conspiracy theorist. So those are two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. But I think if you play one end, you can play the other. That's why I enjoy doing comedy so much, because if I can play that extreme and have that timing, then I know that my drama is going to be solid as well. And the experiences that I've had. But now it's like you have to, of course, go with your age. You're like, I'm not the 20-something guy that's picking up all the girls in the bar anymore. It's just it's what time gives you. And then I mean, as you get older, you develop a certain sort of confidence, and you probably can see yourself a little better in that brand that I was mentioning. I think the static kind of mellows out a little bit, which is a great thing about aging.
Yeah, I think that's one of the major positives about becoming old. It's funny because like when I was younger, this is a really bad example, but and not related to acting at all, but the confidence that elderly people would have to just like walk to the front of the queue and be like, "Fuck you, I'm coming up here to do my thing." And when I was younger, I would never have dreamed of doing that, but because I'll be worried about what people think. And then the older you get, the more comfortable you come in yourself.
Sure.
Most of the time, to just kind of like get out there and be yourself, which is, I think, one of the benefits of aging. The not so much of the benefits of aging is all the pain and aches that come as you get older.
As you know, over the past few years, self-tapes have become the norm, and they are being used by more and more industry professionals to cast all sorts of productions. I've personally recorded self-tapes for theatre and TV and film and commercials, and it makes life easier for casting as they can see more options. But what isn't easy for us actors is finding someone to read for us in the moment that we need them. That's where We Audition comes in. We Audition is an online video chat community where you can call someone that has marked themselves available and they will read for you for your audition. You can use We Audition to rehearse, film, or just ask questions that may help your audition. Last year I had an actor contact me who had never drank alcohol, who just wanted to know how to play drunk. You can sign up to We Audition to be a reader yourself. I log into We Audition most days and I just leave it on, and people call and I accept, and I help them with their auditions. So you can earn a little extra cash doing that, and you can just meet some great people. I even helped one of the main cast of Morning Wars tape an audition towards the end of last year. Look, it's a great platform, and if you're going to sign up to be a reader, it basically pays for itself. So if you want to sign up to be a reader on We Audition, you can get 25% off using the Actors Making It discount code MAKINGIT. So just go to www.weaudition.com and use the code MAKINGIT when you sign up.
So let me ask you this then. When it comes to your career, how have you found, I guess, your mental health journey as far as acting is concerned? Because there's a lot of, I was going to say there's a lot of no's, but there's a lot of not hearing about stuff. There's a lot of work that we do to get where we go or where we want to be. Talk to me about your own mental health journey as far as acting is concerned.
Well, I mentioned surfing. That's part of my life and my lifeblood, basically. Surf actor on Instagram, actually, by the way. Just keep it simple.
I'll be sure to share that in the notes.
Cool. And that's my my go-to, my bubble, I guess, so to speak, being able to be out there in the ocean. But beyond that, because that takes a lot of, I still don't live right on the beach, so I have to drive to that, and then so a lot of that doesn't come. For me, it's boxing as well, and I've started hitting the heavy bag, and I'm getting the rhythm of the speed bag, and that's not only physical, good for my body, but it's good for my rhythm and thought process in mind. So boxing has really, because I have a garden and I can have a heavy bag and a speed bag back there. So,
Nice.
It's been fun. That's been fun. And then, well, just having like a list, like I have a list of kind of outreaches I want to do for the business, certain things that kind of keep me going, focused in the future of like, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
The plane's taking off, and, we're going to have a flight, and you're going to meet, you're going to get to that destination and enjoy that journey as it goes. But just, you got to have little things that kind of you poke at to keep you motivated.
Yeah, sure.
And I have a little girl now, so she's keeping me motivated. She's got energy.
How old is she?
She's almost 2.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Is she just the one child?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So far.
Did having a child, well, it's probably a little bit different for a male, but was that something as far as your acting career that you had to be really conscious of and think about starting a family?
No, because it didn't physically affect me.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives me the drive more. Like I'm providing for this little one. My wife works too, but it's as the man, you kind of want to be that breadwinner. So I'm like, I look at her, I'm like, oh, it looks like me. So she's like, I got to at least, I don't know, give it a go. And I guess that would contribute to what we've been talking about. I guess the theme is fearlessness.
Mm-hmm.
That we've been touching on so much is like, if she's my motivation and not me, not just me, that makes it so much stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean. Cool. So just back on I love your way of dealing with with mental health from a physical perspective. I mean, I'm quite similar. If I don't go to the gym, then I can feel I feel a lot worse. So going to the gym is great for me from that perspective. But I'm curious about whether or not over the course of your journey, what feelings have come up for you around acting as you may not have got certain roles that you thought you were great for, or you haven't heard back about interviews, about auditions. What are the sort of things that you've experienced that have gone, oh fuck, I need to go and punch that speed bag?
Well, there's been so much. There's so much rejection. For how many no's I don't know what the ratio is or the formula. Yes, there's so many no's before you hear a yes, and you can't let that get to you. You can't think about that. You just got to keep hitting that speed bag. You got to keep going with the rhythm. So whenever I start to kind of slump down, I'm guilty as much as the next person about, not wanting to get out of bed in the morning, not, like being like, why am I pursuing this? Where is this going? And if you just trust in your heart that you're doing the right thing, then you're going to keep going, and whether you make it or not, really. And I was listening to some person in the panel, some panelists that has had some successes in the industry. He's a director now and on the level, and that was one of the things that he said that struck me the most. Like, you can have in your tombstone, at least I died trying. So whether you go or not, you want to be able to say that you're going for your goal and your gusto. And it's not for everyone. I mean, a lot of people have dropped out by the time they're 30 or 40 or whatever their milestone is. So you can stay with it. At some point, you're going to have some success. If I feel like I've had some success, pointing to there's different levels of it, but whatever keeps you going, whatever you can kind of count on, but it's gonna have to come from within, because there's so many no's, like we were just saying, there's so many rejection, there's so much push downs.
There is.
Gotta push
do you think that there was a certain point in your career? I mean, what you've said is, it's so right. The fact that you just have to like let it go and move on and get on with the next thing. But sometimes that's obviously a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Was there a point in your career or within your journey that you reached sorry, not articulating this question very well. At what point in your career did you figure that out to be like, okay, just get on with it and not let it affect you as much?
It's just a mantra that I have to tell myself. I haven't figured it out. It might not even be right, but it's just something. Yeah. It's like that. Like you and I, you got to go to the gym. I got to at least twice a week be at the punching bag or the ocean, definitely a couple times a month. So it's just a mantra that you have to keep practicing and ingraining yourself.
Yeah. So after so long hustling for your career, are you still do you keep up with education around acting or scene work, etc.? What does your kind of routine look like to keep your we're talking about gym, to keep your muscle warm from an acting perspective?
Well, it's been tough with the last 2 years. I'm sure that's a quote of everybody, right?
Yeah.
So it's been tough because I like improv and I like being up on my feet, up on the stage. So nothing's been in person. I haven't really seen that. But different. There are things I do. There's a thing called the surf philosophy, and it's a little bit of like, and I've been doing it for a long time, but I just started picking it up again. So it's like you take the camera and you just get a moment in time, and you're talking about that. So I'm doing that to the camera, and then pitch videos. But also, my wife is a director, so we're also thinking of just making scenes for TV shows or films that I want to be in, filming that, and sending it to the producers, the casting, stuff like that. That
wow.
that also, it will flex that muscle. And then I've taken a few like online sort of acting things. Doing whenever the one thing about not having to go to auditions in person is, and it's nice to have just the self tape and be able to do it yourself. So you kind of learn all aspects of, you learn lighting, you learn directing the self and all that.
Yeah.
Be the
Yeah,
showrunner.
nice. Cool. Do you have now where you are in your career, like an idea of what you think the next level is for you? Because you mentioned earlier that you're now at a certain level, but there's obviously another level to work towards.
Yeah.
What's your levels?
Well, I'd like to star in comedic feature films, like studio level, alongside people such as Will Ferrell, maybe be directed by Adam McKay, Ben Stiller, just bigger things, like get on these levels to where I'm, and then also it could be guest star, because I'm in LA and LA's TV land, so it could be guest star on comedies and sitcoms, just that, getting myself seen at the higher level, because there were some eyes on me for this film, the kids film, and I could also do kids shows like Nickelodeon, stuff like that, but this film, there was some eyes on me, but now I want it to be even more eyes on me, so that and not just for the fame side of it, but more for the advancement of keeping like in that acting career and that acting moment, keeping the ball rolling and keeping the fire alive.
Yeah, sure. What do you think has been your biggest hurdle throughout your journey to trying to make it?
Well, it's that self kind of doubt.
Okay.
That's that, like, do I deserve this? And is this what I should be doing? There's an endless amount of stuff that we kind of throw at ourselves. So the biggest challenge is that fighting that mindset.
Yeah. And that's probably the same hurdle for most people. It definitely is for me. I think I question myself probably once every 2 or 3 weeks of, am I good at this? Is it worth doing? Why am I wasting my time? So I can definitely empathize with that. How is the industry in LA now? Obviously the last 2 years, as you mentioned, has been a little bit crap with the whole pandemic. Do you get to audition quite regularly?
There's one like if I book a flight somewhere, then I'm gonna get all the auditions. There's the one rule. Like if you're, I don't know, this year, I'll be honest, zero auditions. I mean, commercially had some auditions, but zero auditions that I would stick my teeth into.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know. It's hard to blame that on if it's slow or if it's not slow, because I could check my inbox in an hour and I have 2 or 3 auditions that I have to get in by tomorrow. But yeah, to answer that, I think it's getting busy. Like, honestly, I think I can feel it. I can feel it in my, in the back of my head or whatever, that it's coming, because it has been slow. And then I don't know. I guess you guys are just the Australians are just allowing people from other countries to come in. You guys were like shut off. For a long time.
Well, we were shut off for general tourism,
Uh-huh.
but the amount of American and British productions that flew into Australia there was so many productions that were produced here during during the pandemic, because of course that sort of stuff brings in money and taxes and whatever for the government, so they allowed that kind of stuff. I've just been watching Pieces of Her with Toni Collette, which was all filmed here in Sydney during the pandemic. Nine Perfect Strangers was all filmed during the pandemic here in Australia.
Was there? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was all filmed up in Byron Bay.
Well, Nicole Kidman, maybe she had some connections or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know that it has anything to do with the fact that she's an Aussie, because Jane Seymour has just been here filming something as well. And I remember seeing her on the news being in the isolation quarantine in the hotel for a couple of weeks. So, I think it's the same with any country. It's one rule for the general public, but if it's going to make the country money, then then we can get away with it, right? So. But I mean, I think that's, being on the precipice of feeling like something is coming is great, and I'm sure that keeps you motivated. Keeps you motivated as well, because it's definitely in those moments where I've not had an audition for a couple of months, where I'll be like, oh, why am I doing this? What is the point?
Sure. Yeah. Like, I booked a commercial right before the pandemic, and that was cool, and that got money in the pocket and all that. But so the commercials, it keeps me going. And then we just went to Warner Brothers, pretty much on the Warner Brothers lot on Monday, because they found the baby on some commercial, some agency, and they wanted to see her and see if she'd be a good fit for them. So she's cool. Doing things. She's got an Instacart commercial, and she had an Instacart commercial, which is a big streaming thing, and she was in a film as well, and she got paid. The same film that I was in, and she got paid, and I didn't get paid. So that's kind of fun.
Oh,
but
wow.
We both had day player roles in a film.
So the whole family is in the industry.
Yeah, we're Hollywood family over here.
Yeah, that's cool. How does that? I mean, I've never personally dated somebody that is also an actor or in the industry. Uh-huh. How does that kind of play out with the I guess insecurity is the wrong word, lack of security of work?
Well,
sorry if that seems like a personal question.
We just both have our own side gigs that we do have.
Yeah, of course.
Monetarily, like she works from home, and I do my surf thing, and I do background work for sometimes. But that's an interesting story. With I don't do it all that much, but I was on set. I was a special skill of I had to know how to handle horses, and I was on the set of this racetrack, and it was a comedy that Jay Roach was directing, and the PA was like, "Oh, we want you to meet somebody." I walked over, and Jay Roach is like, "Hey, thanks for being here, guys." And I was like, "Oh, thanks for being funny." And so that's a connection that I have now, that I have to try to track him down and get with that connection, because I'm like, I freaking loved Austin Powers, whatever. But we met eye to eye. So I was just holding the horse for the scene or whatever, and I was kind of in the shot. But
sounds good. Yeah. Amazing. Well, look, I'll ask one final question. If there was a piece of advice that you were to give to somebody that was trying to make it, however far along they are in their journey, what would it be?
Well, don't give up, obviously, is a good one. But if that's easier said than done sometimes. Don't think about success from other people's point of view. Think about what success means to you. Think about what you want. Think about why you did it. What your dream is, and what got you motivated. What gets you going in general, don't even think about it as being an actor and having that as a value. Just whatever you can find of what success is going to motivate you, grab that bull by the horns and ride with it.
Wise words. I think you've got to remember your why.
Yeah.
Amazing. Josh, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast this morning. This morning, it's the afternoon for you. It's the morning for me. Thanks for joining me, and I will share all of your socials on the chat for everybody.
Okay.
But good luck on your journey to making it.
Thank you. You as well, Danny.